Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vanessa P. I'm a doctoral student at PolyU, and I will be serving as the chair of this session. We will have 5 presenters this afternoon, so each presenter has 30 minutes, which include 5 minutes for Q&A. So please make sure that your presentation will not exceed for 25 minutes, or we will not have time for Q&A. Please note that today's presentation will be recorded. So if you do not wish your talk to be recorded, please let me know. And time is tight, so let's get started. Please join me in welcoming our first presenter, Mr. Ange, whose topic is revolutionizing English writing assessment with AI.
Okay, so I guess I'll be using Cantonese, okay, but the PowerPoint or the materials will be in English, okay. 好，咁啊，各位同工啊，望下 OK。咁啊，我想喺開始之前咧，都問一問先，想做個觀眾嘅調查，有幾多個同工係教緊中小學㗎呢度？OK，大部分 OK，好嚇。咁啊，第二條問題啦，有幾多學校係已經用緊 AI 嚟到去批改中文或者係英文嘅作文㗎？哦，冇嘅，咁啊啱啦，OK 啊，OK，好，咁啊係啦，咁我今日個講題就講翻即係我點樣即係個經歷啦，做翻個經歷就分享翻我點樣去開發一個嘅人工智能嘅系統咧，去幫助中小學嘅一啲特別係講中學啦嚇，OK 嘅老師啦同埋學生啦，可以去運用 AI 咧去做一啲嘅 assessment 嘅工作嚇，OK。好，咁啊，我都係嚟自一個香港嘅一個本地嘅中學啦，咁啊嚇，OK 嚇，咁啊，俾少少嘅背景嘅資料嚇。好嗱，我諗大家多唔多語文老師喺度？都多係嘛？OK 嚇，統計一下先，大家平時每個禮拜花幾多個小時去批改作文啊？5個鐘、6個鐘、7個鐘，唔止。係冇錯啊！呢個我諗係即係好多即係教語文科嘅同工都面對緊嘅問題，就係批改作文真係一個好嘥時間嘅工作，係啦嚇，OK 嚇。咁啊，而且有時候咧，即係批改到攰嘅時候咧，可能會出現啲問題啦，可能就係可能你批改嘅時候唔係好 consistent 啦，OK 嚇。咁啊，甚至乎咧，可能咧都犧牲咗你備課或者去準備其他嘅教案嘅時間嚇，OK。咁所以咧，其實都有感而發啦。咁所以我都諗緊即係既然即係 GenAI 嘅出現咧，咁會唔會都有啲嘅方法咧，可以令到老師批改嘅工作嘅個嘅負擔可以減輕咧嚇？咁所以都喺幾個月之前啦，咁我都可以着手去諗下啊，不如自己寫一個嘅 AI 嘅程式啊，咁啊去做下呢樣嘢嚇，OK 嚇。好，咁今日嘅 presentation 咧，主要講翻即係我嗰個 AI 工具有啲咩嘅features 啦嚇，咁然之後都嘗試下去俾大家體驗一下，究竟真實落嚟用落去嘅陣時候係點樣運作嚇，或者係對學生對老師有啲咩嘅好處或者有咩幫助嚇。好，咁頭先講到啦嚇，即係我諗每個老師特別用老師嚇，花喺即係批改作文嘅時間上面都好多嚇，OK 啊。咁甚至乎有即係調查都發現咧，其實好多即係香港嘅老師咧，因為批改嘅壓力咧，其實導致個 burnout 咧嗰個情況都好普及下，OK 啊。咁啊，所以呢個係一個好嚴重嘅問題啦。咁但係又唔可以唔改嘢㗎，OK 嚇，因為我哋都知道學生咧係需要有我哋老師嘅 feedback 俾佢嘅嚇，咁所以就呢個係一個即係困難嘅地方啦。好，咁啊呢度你見到有個嘅比喻啦嚇，咁啊由一座山咧就跨去另一座山啊，咁啊山嘅左邊咧就係講，因為我哋而家即係老師通常面對緊嘅情況就係要用人手去批改啦嚇，OK 嚇，咁啊我哋點樣可以跨過呢一座山啊嘛，令到去到另外一邊比較舒服啲嘅情況，就係即係將我哋嗰個批改嘅工作咧去 AI 化咗佢，令到我哋可以有騰空多啲時間去幫助學生咧咁樣嚇。咁啊，中間經歷咗幾樣嘢嘅嚇，咁亦都係我開發個系統嘅時候咧，都即係都考慮到嘅因素嚟嘅。第一樣嘢當然就係點樣去運用 AI 咧，去辨識學生嘅作文嚇。我哋都唔想學生要打字係嘛，咁然之後 AI 先至可以辨識到啊。咁所以呢個其中一個第一個工作咧，就係要用 AI 咧去辨識翻學生嘅手寫。 係啦，呢個第一樣工作啦。咁第二樣就係當然就我哋要揾翻一啲嘅 alignment 啦嚇。咁譬如喺香港裏邊咧，我諗好多同事有好多同工嘅一個嘅要關注地方就係點樣預備學生考 DSE 嚇。咁所以我現階段呢個系統咧係針對翻咧即係 DSE 嗰個嘅考試咧個評核模式咧嚟到去做嗰個嘅 alignment 嘅嚇。咁啊，最後啦，亦都諗緊就係喺成個過程裏邊咧，點樣可以做到一個 tier support？意思即係話咧，唔同能力嘅學生、唔同 level 嘅學生咧，佢可以得到唔同程度嘅支援嚇。OK 嚇，咁呢個係即係我成個設計背後嘅理念啦。好，咁啊頭先都講咗啦，咁啊3個主要嘅元素嚇，第一個就係要同 DSE 嘅評核標準做 alignment 啦，第二個就係都希望引入一個 tier 嘅 support system 嚇，咁令到唔同能力嘅學生咧可以有唔同嘅得着嚇。咁最後咧就係都希望提升翻學生嗰個嘅 metacognitive 嗰個嘅 development 嘅 ability 嚇。好，咁呢個就係即係香港 DSE 英文嗰個嘅評核嘅 framework 啦嚇。咁啊3部分啦 ，content 啦、language 啦、organisation 啦。咁呢度唔詳細講啦，大家都明白㗎啦。好，咁咧就頭先講到啦。咁我哋希望咧就話個成個系統咧係可以照顧到學生嗰個學習嘅多樣性嘅差異嘅嚇。咁所以你見到咧其實由學生佢最初寫嗰篇文，去到最嬲尾，OK 嚇 AI 幫佢改完之後，俾完 feedback 之後，其實中間咧經歷過幾個階段嘅嚇。咁第一個階段咧就係最基本嘅，OK 嚇，即係我諗最弱嘅學生咧都可以受惠嘅，就係 AI 幫佢揾出佢錯嘅地方。係啦，OK 嚇，好啦，跟住到啲能力比較高啲嘅學生咧，佢可能唔單止淨係想知道佢嘅 grammar 錯啲乜嘢，佢嘅 vocab 錯啲乜嘢，而佢又更加想咧，希望知道咧，究竟佢可以喺 vocab 上邊或者喺 sentence structure 上面咧，有啲咩地方可以去改進嘅，OK 嚇，咁呢個就第二個階段嚇。咁啊，第三個階段咧就係話，對於再能力再高啲嘅學生咧，其實佢可以咧受惠於咧，即係如果我俾一篇即係好啲嘅就揾佢，俾篇範文佢咧，佢可以透過嗰篇範文咧，可以去學到更加多嚇，進步更加多嚇。好，頭先講到啦，咁啊都係希望提醒翻學生嗰個嘅 metacognitive development 啦嚇。咁所以咧，成個系統背後咧，其實就兩個理念嘅。第一個理念咧就係話咧，喺同佢批改個過程裏邊咧，我哋都會去諗下究竟點樣去解釋翻學生點解係錯，或者係點解要咁樣去改善嚇。咁第二個元素咧就係話啦，我哋頭先講過啦，希望咧有一個嘅 scaffolding 咧，由最初階嘅 level 可能就針對翻佢嘅 grammar 嘅錯處啦，嚟到慢慢可能提升翻佢嗰個詞彙，提升翻佢句子結構多樣性，最後就係佢成個篇章點樣可以去有一個完善嘅寫法嚇。好，咁啊嗱，我喺進入去 demo 個階段之前咧，可能我都好快跳埋落去其他部分嘅 slide 先，然之後一次過就做個 demo 嚇，OK。好，咁咧就陣間就會做 demo 嘅嚇。好嗱，咁啊其實頭先都講到啦，咁啊成個喺老師嗰個嘅教作文嘅過程裏邊咧嚇，其中一樣嘢我諗到就係話點樣做 assessment 啦嚇，OK 嚇。咁 assessment 其實我而家成日講即係唔單止係 assessment of learning 啦，仲係 assessment for learning 同埋 assessment as learning 啦嚇。咁其實 AI 嘅出現咧，正正就可以咧 fill 到嗰個 gaps 咧，點樣去幫學生做嗰個 assessment as learning 嚇。令到學生咧有個機會咧，可以透過 AI 嘅幫助之下咧，去反思翻究竟有啲乜嘢嘅地方咧，佢係需要去完善、去改進嚇。OK 嚇。咁另外一個喺香港嘅課堂裏邊咧，都好即係好講究嘅，就係嗰個差異性或者或者適宜性嘅教學嚇。OK 嚇。頭先我話即係個系統嘅設立咧，係針對翻唔同能力嘅學生咧，去俾唔同嘅嘢佢嚇。咁所以都希望咧可以做到個照顧學習多樣性喺度嚇。好，咁啊，呢個係其中一個大家可以喺班房裏邊咧，去用即係呢個系統裏邊咧，可以達到咧嗰個嘅 formative assessment 嘅目的嘅嚇。咁當然第一個最簡單就係話學生有一個嘅即係draft，然之後再透過 AI 俾佢嘅 feedback，然之後佢再寫第二個 draft 啊，咁然之後先交俾老師嚇。咁呢個係一個嘅即係一個嘅 revision 嘅一個 cycle 嚇。咁喺過程裏邊咧，其實可以學生咧可以透過嗰個 AI 俾佢 feedback 咧，可以不斷去完善、去修正佢個嘅作文嚇。OK 嚇。好，咁頭先講到啦，咁啊 assessment for learning 啦，assessment as learning 啦嚇。咁呢個都係即係而家喺教育界裏邊成日都講嘅一樣嘢嚇。OK 嚇。咁啊，其中一樣嘢咧，以往咧如果未有 AI 之前咧，你叫學生去做互評啊，去做自評咧，其實 有困難嘅，特別係當你教一啲即係 lower banding 嘅學生嘅時候咧，其實佢都冇嗰個能力，冇嗰個 language 去評人哋或者評自己嘅作文啊。咁你叫佢點樣評咧，好困難嘅嚇。咁但係 AI 出現咧，其實係幫到學生咧有個機會咧，可以去做到嗰個嘅自評同埋互評嘅過程嚇。好，咁啊頭先講到啦，咁啊我哋去針對翻學生唔同嘅能力咧，去做翻嗰個嘅differentiated instruction 嚇。咁能力弱啲嘅，咁就 focus 喺嗰個嘅 grammar 嗰個錯處啦。能力強啲嘅，咁啊改善埋佢嘅 vocab 同埋 sentence structures。能力最強嘅，咁啊希望咧透過嗰啲 model writings 咧，去增強佢個 language and style 嚇。好啦，咁啊同工我唔知道學校即係未推用 AI 改作文嗰個嘅障礙喺邊度嚇？其中一個可能就係管理層覺得，哇！如果用 AI 改作文，咁你哋班語文老師咪唔使做咁樣嚇？OK 嚇？咁係咪代表咗有 AI 幫大家改作文之後，等於你嘅責任、你嘅工作就少咗咧？咁當然唔係啦。咁啊，老師嘅角色依然係咁緊要嘅嚇，OK 嚇，因為陣間咧可能大家都會體驗到啦，OK 嚇，喺 AI 成個俾 feedback 嘅過程裏邊咧，其實老師都要做最後把關嘅角色嘅。譬如我用個系統嘅時候咧，當我去俾學生評分嘅時候咧，我都會發覺咧，有啲時候咧，可能AI 俾嗰個學生嘅評分咧，可能同我俾都有少少嘅差異嘅啊。咁可能我俾佢可能係21%11%。咁啊，可能 AI 俾佢嘅可能21%9，咦點解爭2分咧？咁我再望一望翻，究竟 AI 俾出嚟同我俾出嚟嗰個差喺邊度咧？咁樣嚇。咁但係咧其實而家 AI 做嗰個批改都已經好準確㗎啦。基本上咧個差異咧同我俾分咧唔會超過2分嘅，係啦嚇。即係如果我俾12分，咁咪 AI 可能俾10分或者11分，唔會超過話俾9分、8分佢係唔會嘅，係啦嚇。好。咁咧就係啦，咁啊最後講埋啦，咁啊好處就係頭先講過啦，咁啊個提升翻我哋嗰個 marking 個效率啦，OK 嚇，亦都令到我哋批改嗰個嘅一致性咧提高翻嚇，OK 嚇，咁最後就係希望都可以令到學生咧有多啲嘅自我評核、自我評估，從而提升翻佢個成個自主學習嘅動機嚇，OK。好，咁啊陣間再講一講啦，即係究竟如果你想要即係做到呢樣嘢嘅話咧，咁背後有啲嘅 technical 嘅嘢要去準備啦嚇，OK，咁陣間再講下，OK。好，咁啊不如我就去翻頭先個版，sorry，就撳翻入去先。係啦，咁大家如果有手機嘅，咁你可以連翻即係 PolyU 嗰個嘅network 啦，個 internet 啦，咁就可以咧去。好，呢度先嚇，咁你可以嘟咗呢個 QR code 咧，就係嗰個嘅 AI 工具嘅網址嚇。好嗱，或者你我等多1分鐘左右下，咁我跟住就去跳翻落去嗰個 AI 嗰個應用程式嘅界面啦，咁啊做翻一個簡單嘅操作上嘅介紹啊。咁同工應該都唔會有學生嘅文喺度㗎啦，係咪啊？所以唔擔心嘅，我陣間準備咗一個嘅學生作文嘅 sample 喺度嘅，啊，俾埋題目你，咁你陣間 copy and paste 落去咧，咁就可以做到嗰個嘅 try out 啦嚇，OK。好，有冇同工仲要 scan 個 QR code 啊？如果冇，我就去個程式嘅界面嚇。好嗱，咁啊呢度就係嗰個我設計嗰個程式啦嚇，OK 嚇。咁就嗱，我想講一講翻咧，究竟咧即係個程式可以做到啲乜嘢嘢嚇，OK。咁咧就好，呢度第一個步驟嚇，OK。好，咁啊你見到啦嚇，第一樣嘢就即係當同工 影咗學生嘅作文 upload 咗上個系統度啦，然之後就打埋個作文題目啦，OK 嚇。咁你可以括埋嗰個字數要求，咁 AI 都會幫你 detect 翻學生作文嘅字數係夠唔夠啊，定係點樣嘅，係啦嚇。咁然之後咧，咁啊 AI 就會將學生嗰個嘅手跡咧，就會轉寫成為一個 computer 可以閱讀可以 recognize 嘅文本啦，咁啊貼翻出嚟啦嚇，OK 嚇。咁呢個第一步驟啦，就係將學生寫嘅文字轉翻做一個電腦嘅格式嚇。好，咁然之後第二步咧，咁啊 AI 咧就會俾一個 overall impression，OK 嚇，就住嗰篇作文嚇，咁佢就會講翻成篇文咧究竟個學生大致上係做得好唔好咧嚇，即係一個好概括嘅一個嘅印象嚇，OK，咁呢個就係第二步嚇。好啦，咁然之後第三步咧，好啦，咁就係針對翻咧 DSE 考試裏邊咧嗰三個嘅assessment criteria 咧嚟到去做嗰個嘅 feedback 啦。咁第一個就係個 content 啦，針對翻佢個 content 咧，咁佢會按照翻好似類似考評局嗰個嘅 marking scheme 咁樣咧，去按翻佢每一個嘅表現咧去做翻一啲嘅 feedback 俾佢嘅嚇。呢個就係 content 上邊嚇。咁當然會有埋個分數啦，咁7分之幾咁樣嚇。咁然之後咧，就去到 language 啦，一樣啦。咁按照翻考評局嘅標準咧，咁有個 language 上邊嘅 feedback 同埋嗰個嘅評分啦。咁然之後就係嗰個嘅 organisation 啦。好啦，咁之後咧，亦都會有一個嘅 recommendations for improvement 嘅。俾翻個學生一個具體嘅一啲嘅建議，究竟係啲邊一方面上邊咧，學生嘅作文可以有改進嘅地方嘅。咁呢個就係嗰個 recommendation for improvement 啦。咁然之後咧，就係去到最 basic 嘅層次啦，就係對最弱嘅學生嚟講咧，都可以受惠嘅，就係 AI 會揾出學生嘅 grammar 上面嘅錯處啦。OK 嚇，咁呢個版本咧，AI 只會揾翻咧其中5個最 prominent 嘅 error 啫嚇，即係唔想咁快嚇親啲學生，成篇紅晒啊。OK 嚇，咁所以咧，我設計嘅時候就係希望開頭咧就即係揀5個佢最嚴重嘅錯誤嚇，列出嚟，等學生即係知道有啲咩地方可以改善嚇。OK 嚇，OK，好，咁然之後咧。第二個 level 啦，就係對於能力高啲嘅學生嚟講咧，佢可能會想知道咧，究竟喺篇作文裏邊咧，佢可以用啲乜嘢更加好嘅 phrases、更加好嘅 vocab 咧，去提升佢個寫作嘅層次咧。咁所以 AI 都會建議一啲咧，同嗰個作文題目咧，同佢嗰篇文章裏邊咧有關嘅一啲嘅 phrases 咧，俾翻學生去學習嘅，去提升翻佢嘅嚇。咁然之後咧，就去到下一個層次啦，就係嗰個 sentence structure 嘅層次啦嚇。AI 都會咧就住即係一啲有用嘅 sentence structure 咧，去俾翻學生知道咧喺佢篇文裏邊咧點樣可以用翻呢啲嘅 sentence structures 啊，譬如 participle phrases 啊，譬如 inversion structure 啊等等嚇。OK 嚇。好啦，咁跟住啦，可能學生覺得淨係知道自己錯邊5個最嚴重嘅地方，可能都唔夠喉喎咁樣嚇。呢度就會由頭到尾咧，逐句咧列出翻學生即係佢錯嘅地方喺邊度，係啦。咁圓圈嗰個地方就係佢寫個原句啦。剔好就係 AI 幫佢修訂咗之後嘅改法，係啦。有埋嗰個嘅解釋啦。希望學生明白翻背後點解需要咁樣去改咧嚇。好，最後啦，對於最高層次嚟講咧，會俾翻一個 polish 咗嘅 writing 佢啊。呢個咧就唔係一般嘅範文嚟嘅，而係按照翻學生本身嗰篇嘅文咧，OK，針對翻頭先 AI 俾佢一啲嘅修訂嘅建議咧，去俾翻一個即係完善咗嘅 model 俾佢嚇。呢個唔係最好 model 嚟嘅即係呢個如果佢攞出去考 DSE 咧，佢未必攞5星星嘅，攞唔到嘅。只不過咧係按照翻 AI 頭先俾佢嘅建議咧，去幫佢即係修訂一啲嚇。OK，好啦，咁跟住啦，對於能力弱嘅學生咧，其實佢就係睇英文，可能佢都唔知講乜嘅。OK 嚇，咁所以呢度就做翻一個即係雙語版本啦。將入邊有啲嘅比較艱深啲嘅生字咧，都俾翻個中文解釋佢嚇。咁學生比較容易啲去理解翻嚇。OK。 好，跟住咧就呢個係其中一個咧，即係學生可以去做嘅，咁就係咧AI 都會咧去俾出10句嘅佢哋即係犯嘅啲毛病或者啲 common errors 嘅毛病啦，咁然之後咧俾學生去嘗試去修改翻啲錯處嚇，咁啊俾埋個 answer key 佢，咁希望可以 consolidate 翻佢嗰啲嘅 grammatical errors。好啦，最後啦，係啦，咁啊，對於一啲即係Band 1嘅同學仔嚟講嚇，咁佢個目標可能係想攞5星嘅嚇，OK 嚇，咁所以 A 都會俾一個即係可以攞到5星嘅範文俾佢啦嚇，咁呢度佢可以去模仿翻啦，咁然之後都係會有翻個嘅 annotation 啦，咁啊做翻一啲即係重點嘅 vocab 嘅一啲嘅中文啦。好，跟住咧就亦再有3個進階嘅學習嘅里程啦。咁第一個咧就會喺翻頭先嗰邊嘅5星範文裏邊咧，咁啊學生可以去學一啲有用嘅 vocab 啦。咁然之後咧，第二個步驟就係可以學一啲有用嘅 phrases 啦。咁第三個步驟咧，佢可以咧直情去分析埋一啲複雜嘅句子結構。其實我哋啲學生咧，可能能力中間嗰啲咧，其實佢即係高不成又低不就咧，其實可能係即係佢嗰個句子結構上邊咧，未係好理解嚇。咁呢度咧就會幫佢分析翻佢篇文裏邊咧，即係嗰個範文裏邊咧，其中3句比較複雜啲嘅句子結構，然之後逐個幫佢拆解翻入邊咧係點樣去構造啊，或者點樣去理解嗰個複雜嘅句子結構嚇。好，跟住咧就我哋講作文就唔係淨係睇 grammar 嘅嚇，咁我哋都會睇埋個成個 textual structure 啦嚇，成個 organisation 啦。咁所以都呢度都希望咧，俾學生去掌握埋咧，究竟喺嗰個嘅organisation 裏邊，特別係講到個 transition 啊，講個 cohesive devices 裏邊咧，究竟咧篇文章即係嗰邊5星嘅範文咧，點樣可以做到5星咧嚇？咁啊分析翻咧，究竟佢成篇嘅作文裏邊咧，每一段咧係點樣去 structure 嚇？OK。好，咁就係咁多啦，好嘛？咁我就俾大家去試一試啦。好，咁咧左手邊咧就係一個已經做咗嘅 feedback 嘅例子嚟嘅，即係一個已經改咗嘅作文嘅一個嘅 AI 嘅 feedback 嘅例子嚇。咁如果你有興趣知道成個 feedback 成個報告係點樣咧，咁你可以 scan 左邊個 QR code，係啦。右邊個 QR code 咧就係我擺咗我其中一個學生嘅一篇嘅作文同埋題目喺入邊嚇。咁大家可以咧去攞翻嗰個題目同埋攞翻個學生作文咧，去嘗試去即係俾個 AI 系統去批改，咁你就可以體驗一下成個過程係點樣嚇。OK，好，我俾1分鐘時間大家可以 scan 咗佢去開咗嗰啲嘅 file 或者個 folder 先，咁跟住我就落翻去嗰個程式嘅界面上邊嚇。係啦，咁大家可以開咗呢個右邊嗰個 folder 之後咧，咁你開咗個題目咧，你就可以 copy 咗個題目嚇，咁然之後陣間就可以 paste 翻落去嗰個程式嘅界面入邊嚇。好，我希望我個 server 唔會冧嚇，因為未試過成100人去用，不過應該頂得順嘅嚇。OK，好，大家都 scan 完未啊？scan 完我就跳翻去個程式嘅界面上面啦。好。好嗱，咁頭先大家去到嗰個程式入邊啦，你撳翻呢度 Get Started for Free 啦嚇，OK 嚇，咁你撳翻個 Accept and Start 啦。 好啦，嗱，咁啊個程式咧其實係有兩樣嘢要做嘅啫。OK 嚇，第一樣嘢你見到呢個嘅有個 input box 嘅，係啦，呢個 box 入邊咧就係俾你去打翻個題目落去嘅。咁陣間大家可以嘗試下將頭先你 copy 咗個題目咧，咁啊 paste 翻落去個 box 度嚇。OK 嚇，咁呢個就第一步驟。第二步驟咧就係你撳左邊呢一個嘅圖案，呢個係一個 upload 嘅圖案嚟嘅，係啦。咁你撳咗個圖案之後咧，係啦，咁你就可以咧將頭先你已經打開咗嗰個嘅sample 嘅 folder 入邊嘅嗰幾張 scan 咗出嚟嘅學生嘅作文咧，咁就 upload 翻上去，係啦，上得㗎啦，係啦，嗱，因為咧嗱 PDF 咧，你睇翻係咩 PDF 啦？如果個 PDF 咧係文字咧，都係冇問題啦。但係如果你個 PDF 咧，其實都係影印機去 scan 出嚟嘅話咧，其實即係等於圖畫。咁所以咧嗰個就唔得嘅，即係因為電腦係處理唔到 PDF 嘅圖畫嘅，就處理到 PDF 嘅文字嘅啫嚇。咁所以就大家不如就學定影相啦，係啦，影學生篇文係啦。或者如果你學校嘅影印機咧係可以輸出成為 JPEG 或者係即係 PNG，唔係 PDF 都可以嘅。你可以揀即係唔好輸出做 PDF，輸出做嗰個嘅 JPEG 係啦，咁都可以係啦嚇。OK。好嗱，咁你就upload 完之後咧，係啦，咁你之後就撳翻最右手邊嗰個嘅箭嘴個掣咧，係啦，咁你就等幾秒鐘咧，就應該就會開始成個 AI 嘅評核嘅工作㗎啦。咁啊，佢 step by step 嘅，佢完成咗第一步驟之後咧，佢停低喺度，然之後咧，佢會有個 prompt 咧去問你會唔會繼續嘅，係啦，咁你就按翻個指示咧去撳 yes 或者 no，咁就可以跳去下一步啦，係啦，咁你就 step by step 嘅嚇，OK。哦，可以可以。我聽到有人用緊啦，已經嚇。哦，OK，好啦，我俾大會提嘅，我已經夠時啦嚇，OK。好，咁啊，同工可以繼續 scan 完之後，翻屋企可以試下啦。甚至乎攞啲真實你嘅學生作文去試下都可以嘅嚇，OK 嚇，得唔得？係啦，我就係想提多一樣嘢啫，跟住我就俾翻個場俾翻大會提多一樣嘢啫嚇，OK 嚇。因為以往有我啲同事都忘記咗做呢樣嘢啊，就係你去到嗰個嘅呢度咧，你每一次 AI 批講完一篇文之後咧，你記得咧要撳翻右上角嗰個嘅 reset 嗰個掣。如果唔係咧，你再貼下一條學生嘅文落去嘅時候咧，AI 可能會用埋上一個同學仔嗰篇文咧嚟到去做嗰個嘅 context 嘅。咁所以就會可能就會錯咗嘅。咁所以咧，你每一次一篇新聞嘅時候咧，記得撳翻右上角嗰個 reset 嘅掣，先至好再upload 下一個同學仔嘅作文落去，係啦嚇，咁係咁多啫，好唔好？好嘛，唔該晒咁多位嚇，OK 嚇，OK，thank you 嚇。
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Now we have time for Q&A. Who would like to start?
Yeah.
你好啊，因為我喺學校咧都係聯絡緊好多唔同嘅 AI 公司去 explore 下點樣可以運用即係 AI 喺作文嘅批改上面。咁但係我哋面對一啲問題咧，其實可以借你嗰個 feedback 嚟講一講。譬如你 feedback 裏邊最後講grammar errors 嗰部分咧，佢有一個係 dare have 嘅句子嘅。咁你哋嘅批改就係話呢個係。其實係 subject verb agreement。
好嗱，呢個我知想問咩啦？OK 啦，好啦，嗱呢個係一個好問題嚟嘅。你見到咧，其實 AI 個批改入邊咧，唔係100%咧，佢會用準咧我哋即係學界裏邊或者英語界裏邊用嘅嗰啲嘅 terminology，嗰啲嘅 jargon 嘅，係嘛？我哋可能覺得呢一個 dare have 嘅錯處係唔係同 subject verb agreement 有關嘅？咁但係 AI 佢會當咗佢係 subject verb agreement 嚇。咁所以咧，而家對嚟講咧，其實冇100%咧係即係完善嘅，係啦。但係最少佢唔會改錯學生嘅，係啦。但係佢用嘅 terminology 咧，未必係我哋用嘅嗰個嘅講法，係啦。即係部分係會有出嘅情況出現嘅，係啦。好啦，嗱咁最後先講咯，即係其實坊間咧都有2、3個咧比較大啲嘅公司咧，佢已經開發咗即係類似嘅系統嘅。唔知大家有冇聽過？第一個就係 Pencil 係啦嚇 ，OK 嚇。咁第二個咧就係港大經管學院有份開始即係開發嘅叫做 INSC 嘅系統平台 INSC 嚇 ，OK 嚇。咁第三個咧就係 Una 係啦嚇。咁應該 即係以我所知咧，香港個學校咧比較多用嘅係 Pencil，係啦，係 Pencil，係啦嚇。咁所以如果你有興趣，你都可以聯絡翻嗰間公司，佢做個 demo 俾你睇嘅，係啦。咁啊，我覺得咧，咁多間公司裏邊咧，其實佢嘅 features 啊都唔係一樣嘅，係咁，所以你可能真係要睇下你嘅需要係啲乜嘢嚇，即係佢哋嘅長處嘅短處都唔一樣嘅，係啦嚇。OK。OK，thank you，thank you，thank you。
Testing。
好，各位好嚇，咁就
照講。
嗱，咁就介紹下我哋自己先嚇，咁啊身邊係我 partner 咁啊梁博士梁偉陽博士嚇，
大家好，大家好。
我係馮振輝嚇，咁啊等陣咧我哋會講一講嚇嗰個成個嗰個 project 嚇，咁啊買埋廣告先嚇，咁啊等陣大家睇到呢個 project 咧，實際上係我一個喺大學入邊 TDG 嘅一個 project， 即係 Teaching and Development Grant 嘅一個 project 嚟嘅嚇。咁就喺本地嘅一啲中小學嗰度就開展緊嚇，做緊嘅嚇。咁咧另外咧，點解我會同阿梁博士一齊去合作咧？聽日我哋有另外一篇文嘅，咁就係阿梁博士會主要去 present 嚇，就關於個 eye checking 嘅。咁因為咧 eye checking 咧係應用喺我今次呢個 project 入邊，呢個第一。第二好重要一樣嘢就係我哋點樣 assess， 即係個 effectiveness 點樣 assess 啊？咁 eye checking 係其中一個 indicator 嚟嘅嚇，咁所以咧就兩篇文其實係一個 norm 嚟嘅嚇，咁就容許我依家就開始去 present 啦，好嘛？唔該。咁我盡到。OK 啊，哦關晒添，哦唔緊要唔緊要，關晒添，啊真係關晒，唔緊要。OK，等陣再嚟啩。好 OK 啦係嘛？好嗱，咁啊各位我呢個 project 咧係中文做嘅，咁所以咧就我諗用翻廣東話嚟到去講會比較好啲嚇。咁如果等陣如果 Q&A 啊，大家需要用普通話或者英文，咁冇問題嘅，好冇？好嗱，咁就呢一個題目大家見到噶啦啊，咁我係馮振輝，呢度入邊咧有我嘅所有嘅 information 嚇，我係教大嘅老師，咁就係啦 OK 好。好嗱，咁啊先講講先，睇個 rationale 先嚇，所以我都要講 background 嘅。咁呢個嘅 background 係咩咧？就係我哋嘅學生咧，喺呢一個本地入邊，咁啊中文咧基本上我哋有幾個字叫死亡之科係嘛 ？OK，咁尤其 DSE 入邊大家都拗晒頭噶啦。如果在座啱先我見到啱先嗰位吳老師就嗌大家舉手係嘛 ？OK， 好多中文老師我見到係啦。嗱咁啊大家留意啦，如果有機會合作嘅嚇，咁啊歡迎大家，因為呢個 project ongoing 嘅。好啦，咁啊錢就攞緊㗎啦嚇。好嗱，咁就首先咧，呢一個題目咧就係香港中小學學生學習中國古詩文嘅成效啦。咁啊用咗 AI 啦、VR 啦呢啲方式啦嚇，eye checking 啦，仲有啱先提到嚇，咁嚟到去睇嘅。咁呢度入邊咧首先我哋係用呢一個framework 嚟到去做呢樣嘢嚇。咁啊睇翻究竟我學生邊啲地方係弱嘅嚇。咁喺文獻上邊、研究上邊，我哋會睇到佢哋弱喺邊，點解弱咁啊？針對嗰樣嘢，我哋有的放矢嚇。咁啊有我哋嘅 methodology 啦嚇，咁啊跟住入邊有啲統計分析嘅嚇，入邊我哋會攞到一啲同學嘅一啲 data 嚟到去做研究嚇。OK， 咁啊說服力強啲嚇。咁我哋有我哋嘅 findings 啊，咁啊結論啊等等嚇。咁啊等陣會同大家一齊去高呼下啦。咁啊首先我哋睇睇教育局先嚇。OK， 咁啊教育局大家都好熟㗎啦。如果係中文老師嘅話，咁我哋有 curriculum guideline 嘅係嘛。咁入邊咧我哋會見到咧，響呢一個嗱呢一份啦嚇，咁然後咧提到咧就係開放呢一個學習材料啦，重視經典閱讀啦。咁古詩文入邊咧，無論係呢個小學同埋中學入邊咧，大家都會見到我哋係有建議篇章嘅嚇，建議篇章嚇。咁所以咧，我哋今次做嘅咧係 based on 嗰個建議篇章入邊嘅內容嚟到去作為一個題材嘅。咁所以咧，我哋選擇咗直資官立。呢一個私校同埋國際學校嚇，咁啊希望個覆蓋面強啲，亦都可以有機會咧攞多啲唔同類型嘅 data，因為正如好似啱先上一位講者講，我哋有 diversity 啊，呢樣好重要，我哋要幫唔同類型嘅學校，幫唔同能力嘅學生 ，OK， 咁希望咧可以係藉住呢一個研究咧，同埋呢個 project 咧，可以通過 data，呢個 data 咧包括學生出嚟嘅 data。包括係老師前線老師用家嘅 data 嚟到去做翻一個分析嘅嚇。好啦，咁啊另外啦教育局亦都提到啦，咁啊資訊科技呢樣嘢大家都好熟啦，咁我就唔詳細講啦。 咁啊，另外咧就係點解我哋嘅學生喺呢一個中國古詩文入邊覺得難呢？呢個難咧就唔係淨係學生難嘅，我哋老師教都唔容易嘅嚇。咁入邊咧，我哋會攞到2套嘅框架啦，一個就係呢一個具身法理論啦嚇，另外一個咧就係大家好熟嘅 Vygotsky 嘅 scaffolding。好，咁啊，一樣嚟睇啦。嗱，咁呢個咧係我哋成個嘅 approach 嚟嘅。OK，咁我哋嘅方法咧簡單啲嚟講嚇，等陣我都會詳細講嘅。簡單啲嚟講，好簡單嘅啫。喺成個教學過程入邊咧，我哋嘅學生因為語言文字距離我哋太遠啦，尤其係文言文，我哋依家用緊現代白話文啦，呢個第一。第二，一啲名人名言同埋佢哋嘅典故，我哋學生係唔知道呢啲故事啦嚇。第三就係佢哋嘅地理風貌，佢哋嘅歷史。我哋嘅學生佢哋都好遠嘅，咁所以咧，我哋用具身化呢種方式，用 VR 360度全景，等佢哋有機會咧去沉浸、去體驗。咁所以呢個 project 嘅全名叫咩咧？叫同走古人路啊。OK， 同走古人路嚇。咁我哋希望咧學生可以係身臨其境啦。咁所以用 VR 好啦。AI 我哋做咩咧？咁樣 AI 有2個作用嘅喺呢度。第一就係即時互動啊。依家好講究師生互動啊嘛。我哋上堂嘅時候係咪啊？尤其喺課後延伸嘅時候，又或者喺課堂活動入邊嚇，呢個第一啦。第二係我哋好講究 scaffolding 啊嘛，鷹架啊嘛，係咪 peer learning 啊嘛 ，EZPD 啊嘛 ，sum of possible development 啊嘛，係咪近端發展理論啊嘛？咁所以咧好講究就係師生互動啦，生互動。咁喺度入邊咧 AI 嘅作用係咩咧？係人機互動，我哋加多一個 OK 即時互動。好啦。AI 除咗呢個之後咧，最重要一樣嘢，我哋要睇翻個 teaching and learning 嘅 effectiveness。咁 AI 可以幫到我哋咧，去鑑別學生產出嘅內容，產出啲乜，我哋可以揾 AI 幫手。同時，我哋可以揾 AI 幫手嚟到去睇睇，產出究竟產出成點啊？咁樣啱唔啱個 rubrics 啊？咁樣係咪？咁所以咧喺 indicators 入邊咧，我哋有以下呢幾樣嘅。第一，我哋同呢一個學生高中低能力嘅學生咧，做咗一個interview， 前線老師我哋都有 interview。咁另外咧，仲有就係我哋有比較組，有實驗組。咁我哋係會有問卷 survey 啦，亦都會有呢一個前測同埋後測嘅呢一個課堂練習嘅。OK，咁嚟去睇。好啦，第3個 indicator 係咩咧？就係Dr. Leung 嘅好熟嘅一個 eye checking 啊。咁啊，聽日晏晝3點鐘響 Z206 係咪？咁然後咧，我哋會有個 eye checking 嘅另外一個 part 2嘅一個版本嚟到同大家重心去再講講 eye checking 究竟係咩咧咁樣。咁所以咧喺呢度入邊咧 AI 嘅作用係包括啱先講嘅呢樣嘢。咁我哋用啲咩 AI 咧咁樣好多元嘅啊，因為咧入邊我哋希望個 data 再闊啲，咁所以咧我哋會有從初小、中小、高小，咁然後咧仲有就係呢一個中學嚇。OK。好啦，咁入邊咧，根據唔同嘅學生嘅年齡層咧，我哋會用到譬如話更加像具身嘅，譬如話用實物圖片啦，生成圖片啦。咁啊有 AI chatbox 啦，同佢傾偈啦嚇。咁我哋運用咗清華大學開發嘅一個9歌人工詩歌寫作系統嚇。咁大家如果依家感興趣嘅，都可以 key 入去 Google 就有噶啦嚇。OK， 咁啊9歌啦嚇。咁呢個我哋做寫詩歌嘅啊。OK， 好啦。咁另外一個咧就係呢一個場面化再勁啲嘅，我哋就用咗 Skybox AI 嚇，咁呢個係幫學生咧去做咩咧？詩配圖或者詩配畫咁樣嘅方式嚇，仲有好多嘅。OK， 好啦，咁我哋睇睇，咁啊講啲理論先嚇，咁我快啲高呼。咁啊首先咧呢度有 ECT 嘅嚇，咁啊具身認知理論啦嚇，咁大家都知道語言係咩啊？語言係抽象嘅嘢，最現實嘅係咩咧？嗱，從我哋學生成長唔係 BB 出世。我哋有一個字叫做 acquisition， 係咪啊 ？acquire、study， 咁佢哋 acquire 係咩啊？係個 talent 嚟噶嘛，天賦嚟噶嘛。咁佢哋響成長嘅過程入邊，一開頭接觸最容易一個樣嘢係咩咧？係實物化，係咪啊？凳，中文叫凳，英文叫 chair。咁邊個話俾你聽呢個係凳？邊個話俾你聽呢個 chair？係咪？咁呢個就涉及到個生啦。有咗個生之後咧，咁跟住就會有咩咧？就會有文字啦。啊，大家都係老師，大家好清楚啦呢樣嘢。呢啲全部都係抽象嘅嘢，咁所以對於學生嚟講，最基本嘅係咩？實物。下一步就係具象嘅圖片，然後下一步就係文字、語音就抽象啦。好啦，到最尾就係無象。OK， 咁啊經歷過咁樣嘅過程咧，咁所以我哋會知道，對於學生嚟講，如果令到佢哋比較容易係感同身受， 沉浸式嘅時候咧，咁具象呢樣嘢係好重要嘅。OK， 好啦，咁佢有以下呢一個，咁大家都熟啦，我就唔詳細講啦。好啦，咁所以重點係咩咧？就係刺激佢哋嘅感官。咁大家都好熟，有一個叫做 Total Physical Response 嘅 theory 啊 ，TPR 係咪？咁 based on 呢樣嘢，多感官係嘛 ？Multisensory， 仲有潛意識 subconscious education 係咪 ？OK 等等呢一啲，咁當然仲有依家我哋好流行嘅叫做 multimodality 啦，多模態啦，係咪 ？OK 好啦，咁啊要快啲啦，俾人錄啦。好啦，咁所以咧我哋就有呢一個360度全景啦。OK 好啦，好啦，另外一個就係啱先所講到嘅 scaffolding 嘅問題啦。OK 咁呢個大家好熟，我就唔詳細講啦。咁我哋 chatbox 就係做嘅呢個作用啦嚇。咁佢好重要一樣嘢咧，就係不斷咁樣等學生可以有機會追問啦，係嘛？跟住通過語音去辨識啦，咁啊有回饋啦，有修正啦嚇等等呢一啲嚇，咁啊可以有閉環啦嚇咁樣方式。好啦，咁啊教育局嘅一啲重點嚇，咁呢度咧高呼一下就算啦。響低年級，我哋咧由於係低年級嘅學生嘅佢哋嘅大腦發育啦，咁所以咧我哋會比較趨同一樣嘢，趨向咩咧？就係呢個韻律嘅 ，OK， 直觀刺激為主嚇。咁啊高年班嘅咧，我哋就慢慢去培養佢哋咩？呢一個審辨嘅能力、文化內涵嘅能力嚇。好，咁喺傳統嘅呢一個教學入邊咧，有3大嘅困境嘅嚇。第一就係時空嘅隔閡啦，啱先我提過啦。一個係文化嘅差異嘅嚇，尤其喺我哋本地有啲學校咧，我哋有好多嘅NCS 嘅學生，我哋好多嘅 SEN 嘅學生嚇，佢哋好需要嘅嚇，尤其係 intercultural communication 嚇，個 intercultural differences 個跨文化差異係好大嘅嚇。咁啊，另外就係動機不足啦，因為現代漢語同埋古代漢語嚇，對於佢哋嚟講可能係另外一套嘅 language， 學天書咁樣係咪 OK？ 所以參與度低。好啦，咁所以咧，我哋就有見及此咧，我哋就創設咗啱先嘅嗰種方式嚟到去教學啦。咁我哋喺現在嘅現有嘅有冇同我哋差唔多嘅？有嘅，譬如我哋 check 到文獻咧係香港大學有嘅嚇，佢係趨向於 AR 同埋 VR 嘅嚇。咁啊跟住咧，我哋大學咧亦都有 AI 嘅嚇，呢個一啲內容亦都有嘅。咁但係咧將佢融合埋一齊，再加埋 eye checking 咧就比較少嚇。咁所以我哋咧就嘗試去做一做咁樣嘅一個情況啦嚇。好啦。咁所以咧，成個嘅 methodology 咧，大家會睇到嚇。咁啊，總結一句就係呢一句啦。我哋用咗 VR 嚇，通過一個情景嘅具身啦，咁啊再加呢一個 AI 嘅 OK 認知嘅配色嚇咁嘅方式嚟到去做嘅啊，成個呢個係我哋嘅scenario 啊。好啦，咁我哋就解決2個問題嘅。第一就係究竟佢嘅成效係點樣樣？第二佢嘅差異係點樣樣？呢2個問題。好啦，咁我哋睇睇我哋啲研究嘅對象先。嗱，啱先所講啦，我哋希望囊括更加多嘅學校啦，嚇國際學校我哋都有嘅嚇，咁啊唔同年級啦，嚇唔同年級啦，嚇咁啊有唔同嘅學生啦、老師啊咁等等啦嚇，咁啊等陣大家會見到咧成個過程嚇 ，OK 4個過程 ，OK 嗱咁啊先前測先睇睇佢哋情況，跟住咧我哋先用 VR 嚟到去做，跟住 AI 好啦，咁啊再去後測，咁啊睇睇佢哋喺唔同嘅嗰個部分上邊究竟佢哋嘅成效點嚇，咁啊呢啲係我哋嘅一啲數據收集嚇，唔詳細講啦。OK，呢啲係我哋嘅問題嚇，有呢邊咧係呢一個 survey 嘅，呢邊咧係 semi interview 嘅。OK，好，咁跟住咧呢啲係 stack 嗰啲嘢我就唔詳細講啦。好啦，咁啊全部唔符合正態分佈嘅，咁所以點解後尾點咧咁樣？咁我哋會做另外一個方式嚇，我哋會用 W test 同埋 H test 嚇，咁啊呢啲都唔緊要，唔係重點，重點喺呢度。好啦，咁我哋睇到。通過統計分析啦，我哋會見到響高年班嘅光說入邊咧，佢嘅呢一個效果咧係較強正向嘅。嗱，我哋睇邊個字咧？睇呢一個嚇，睇呢一個0.59呢一個嚇，效應量 R 呢個嚇，咁佢係成個對於學生學完之後嚇，等陣我會講到嘅幾個唔同嘅部分，佢個係最強嘅，係較強嘅嚇。另外一個嘅有個最強嘅，但係佢嘅呢個效能咧比呢個弱啲，所以我哋主要睇呢一個嚇。OK， 好啦，咁有冇弱嘅咧？有弱嘅，木蘭辭呢個比較弱嚇。咁呢啲都係通過數據我哋會睇到嘅。咁等陣我會解釋究竟佢代表住啲咩嘢。好啦，咁我哋睇喺呢度入邊，啱先提到啦，最強比較強嘅，我嚟做呢一個例子嘅係光說嚇5年班嘅，最弱嘅就係木蘭辭。喺呢入邊咧，教學效果咧，光說比較強嚇，木蘭辭比較弱。OK， 好。咁呢度入邊，好啦， 咁啊，大家最關心嘅應該都係後邊呢一啲㗎啦。嗱，我哋睇呢度入邊前測後測，我哋睇學生嘅表現嚇。好啦，喺前測後測入邊咧，我哋會見到係啦，1年班同埋7年班佢哋嘅前測後測，雖然4個年級4首唔同嘅作品喺 VRAI 呢一個方式之後都有正向，但係1年班嘅春曉同埋7年班嘅木蘭辭係比較弱啲嘅。等陣我會解釋。但係喺3年班嘅9月9同埋5年班嘅江雪係好強嘅。OK， 好啦，咁等陣我都會解釋嘅。好啦，咁呢度入邊咧，我哋會主要睇咩咧？咁樣我哋主要睇幾個維度。第一，佢哋嘅理解；第二，佢哋對於成首作品嘅託物言之或者託景言之等等呢啲情感嘅理解，同埋對詩歌嘅呢一個 memorization， 佢哋即係背誦點樣？呢啲都係我哋平時考試要考嘅，亦都係大家喺教嘅時候咧，相對嚟講，老師表達出嚟個難點係比較大嘅。OK， 好啦，咁通過呢個問卷咧，我哋會見到江雪呢3點係比較強嘅。OK， 木蘭辭呢3點係相對弱啲嘅。OK， 好啦，嗱，咁我哋會見到最強嘅喺呢3點入邊，全部都係正向嘅，但係最強嘅係記住詩句。OK， 嗱，呢樣嘢咧，當我去同校長去傾嘅時候咧。咁學科主任、中文科主任咧，聽到呢個就開心啦。點解啊？因為呢個解決咗最基本嘅嘢啊嘛，係嘛 ？OK， 好，咁啊，另外啦，3個維度，啱先講到啦，記憶效果係咪啊 ？OK， 好啦，咁點解咧咁樣？咁我哋會見到1年班，我哋喺成個研究入邊咧，我哋會發現1年班嘅呢一首作品《春曉》咧，佢相對嚟講，佢嘅呢一個視像化已經好強啦，佢個文字相對比較簡單。OK， 木蘭辭點解會弱咧？木蘭辭第一太長，影響咗佢嘅記憶。第二，入邊嘅內容戰爭對於學生嘅距離太遠。但係中間嘅呢兩首咧，呢兩首咧點解會比較強咧？因為入邊我哋會發現，喺成個研究入邊，我哋會發現呢兩首入邊喺 VRAI 嘅作用，對於佢哋嘅理解。成個分析對於佢哋嚟講嘅表現，佢哋會覺得更加容易去理解，更加容易去接觸，並且喺個詩歌嘅田園氣息又好，喺詩歌嘅人文親情關係入邊又好 ，VR 同埋 AI 可以有效咁幫到佢哋。OK， 所以喺呢度入邊互相印證嚇，所以。強正向同埋呢一個較強正向，就係落響3年班嘅呢首作品，同埋5年級呢班作品。OK， 咁所以呢個同作品嘅呢一個本身佢嘅性質係有關係嘅，性質係有關係嘅。OK， 好啦，咁啊，所以結論對於江雪同埋9月9咧 ，VR 能夠重構寒江獨釣、登高望遠。場景上邊咧，學生可以通過呢一個身體嘅感知啦，例如視覺嘅移動啦。建立視像、意象同埋呢一個情感嘅連結啦，咁所以喺後測入邊咧，佢嘅呢一個提升率係比較高嘅嚇。咁呢個主要係因為 VR 同埋 AI 喺情景嘅沉浸同埋認知深化上面幫咗佢哋嚇。咁呢個亦都喺研究上邊文獻上邊咧，我哋得到印證嘅。好啦，低年班啦，低年班嘅學生咧可以。喺教學上邊，我哋點用咧？咁樣我哋通過研究，我哋見到低年班學生咧可以通過 AI 生成詩歌配圖呢種方式，高年班咧可以通過 AI 討論詩意呢啲方式咧，可以滿足唔同認知水平嘅學生佢哋嘅呢一個需求。而學生回饋同 AI chatbox 交流咧比較有趣，而且有幫助。咁老師咧普遍反映咧可以減低佢哋嘅教學嘅負荷。提升佢哋嘅教學嘅效能，咁喺唔同嘅呢一個角度咧，去印證咗 AI 互動對提升學習動機同埋學習成效嘅積極性。好啦，咁喺呢個過程入邊咧，啱先亦都解釋咗啦嚇。咁強正向嘅江雪啊，因為佢嘅畫面感好強嚇，咁所以咧喺呢度入邊咧，本地學生咧佢哋對傳統文化嘅符號情感產生共鳴。咁 VR 咧啱啱就做到呢樣嘢啦嚇。咁啊好啦，弱正向嘅包括呢一個木蘭辭同埋春曉嚇。木蘭辭咧 VR 戰爭嘅呢個場景咧渲染度咧唔夠嘅嚇，渲染度唔夠嚇。咁啊國際學校嘅學生更加為止啊。咁啊國際學校嘅學生有唔同嘅國籍嘅學生啦。咁所以我哋要點做咧？我哋要增加中華文化嘅文化符號嘅輸入。如果唔係佢哋就 產生阻滯啦。咁日常題材比較短嘅呢首春曉咧，傳統嘅教學咧就已經可以結合日常生活化同埋生活經驗，就已經係達到咗傳情達意啦。咁所以咧呢個解釋咗點解呢兩首係弱正向，點解呢兩首咧係強正向嘅。OK， 好啦，點樣優化？咁我哋亦都喺研究入邊睇到咧技術層面上邊，喺木蘭辭咧建議可以引有一啲遊戲引擎嘅方式。OK，Kahoot 啊等等呢啲都係好好嘅遊戲方式啦。好啦，內容方面，國際學校嘅學生咧可以增設多啲咩咧 AI 嘅文化模組去解釋呢個究竟代表住啲咩嘢係嘛 ？OK 咁樣嘅方式譬如入邊嘅金托好多學生都唔明嘅，軍貼好多學生都唔明嘅OK， 好啦，包括本地學生都唔明嘅。好啦，局限咁當然就係今次呢個係一個 pilot study 嚟嘅咁所以咧人數係少啲咁如果我哋未來做咧，希望就係擴大個 pool，攞多啲 data， 咁令到我哋接近一個 population咁咧個說服力更加強咁未來發展咧就會繼續向呢個方向去做啦。咁就更加多嘅學校，希望更加多學校咧一齊去 join 嚟到去做呢個 project 啦咁我哋今次嘅做法咧就係免費幫學校去做呢一個 VR AI 呢一個 tailor-made 嘅呢一個成個嘅呢一個場景OK， 咁等陣我哋會有機會試嘅咁呢個係其中一啲，呢個係春曉嘅課堂啦OK， 咁學生響學完之後，佢哋就會輸入 AI 啦，我哋用咗 POE 啦，入邊嘅 Playground 2.5啦等學生用佢哋嘅語言講説話，咁輸入，咁跟住咧佢哋就會產生相應嘅圖片啦。咁我哋通過圖片，老師咧就可以去 judge 究竟佢近唔近佢所表達嘅理解啦。OK， 好啦，呢個係3年班嘅9月9嘅咁佢哋用咗咩咧？佢哋就純粹就用 AI chatbox 同佢傾偈係嘛？好啦，呢個第5個嘅江雪。咁江雪咧因為高年班啦，我哋用咗呢一個清華大學九歌，然後咧等學生咧學完呢一個江雪之後，咁尤其獨釣寒江雪呢個係好抽象嘅，等學生咧嚟到用自己嘅語言輸入到呢一個九歌入邊，跟住睇下九歌會出乜嘢作品。第二個咧就係老師喺成個過程入邊咧有講到詩歌嘅平仄、5言、7言、絕句，還是係律詩呢一啲，跟住然後咧等學生去了解咗原來唐詩佢嘅呢一個文言知識，咁跟住咧等學生自己去再去同 partner 傾完之後，人機對話之後，跟住咧同呢一個 AI 嚟到去輸入，咁然後咧產出對應嘅作品，跟住再等學生 group discussion 之後咧，請學生嚟演繹，究竟你覺得呢首作品同你啱先學嘅呢一個唐詩嘅一啲文言常識，究竟佢產出嘅究竟正確與否？咁呢個係高年班嘅。好啦，咁呢個係國際學校嘅咁老師咧就喺度咧就請同學咧就用自己學完之後木蘭辭學完之後用自己嘅説話嚟到翻譯成白話文咁然後咧產出圖片咁呢啲係我哋嘅一啲活動啦OK 係啦。好咁入邊咧仲有冇時間啊？有冇時間啊？好，很快好咁咧就大家可以睇睇嘅。咁呢個咧就係學生響學完用 Skype 嗰個 AI 做嘅一個狀啦咁呢個佢哋嘅作品啦時間關係咧，咁就不如就睇睇呢個啦。係啦，咁呢個係學生做出嚟嘅呢一個詩配畫詩配畫 OK 好咁跟住。啱先可能大家都想睇一睇嘅就係嗰個江雪啦咁大家可以望一望呢個江雪。嗱呢個江雪咧，大家會見到咧學生就係學呢個啦唔同嘅呢一個AI 場景啦，咁當然要帶咗嗰個360度嗰個啦咁跟住入邊咧係會有朗誦啦，會有呢一個大家見到係有一啲選擇題啦，係咪啊？OK， 咁呢啲都係根據老師佢哋上堂嘅方式咁嚟到 tailor-made 嘅咁有文學常識啦等等呢一啲咁學生戴咗呢個眼鏡之後咧，佢就可以沉浸喺呢個環境入邊嘅，係啦。咁入邊咧會有360度嘅全景啦大家會見到嗱 360度全景啦嚇。咁啊跟住咧，學生咧如果係望住嗱呢個係解釋嚟嘅，學生只要戴咗個眼鏡望住呢一個 button， 咁望大概半秒鐘，佢一撈，咁佢就會自己去講出相應嘅聲音啦嚇，嗰個解説啦。咁如果學生咧佢想係喺度邊有 A、B、C、D， 大家會見到嚇。如果佢係選 A，咁你望住 A。如果啱嘅，佢就會下一頁；如果唔啱，你選 B 嚇，咁啊跟住就揀啱佢先可以走嘅。好，咁啊要快啲啦。好啦，到最尾啦，到最尾啦。嗱呢個係咩咧？呢個係 AI chat box 嚟嘅，等陣大家可以試。當你用隻眼嚇，咁當然依家我哋冇個眼鏡啦嚇。如果有眼鏡咧，當你眼望住佢，或者冇眼鏡都得。等陣大家可以試嘅。你點一點呢一個，跟住你用粵語又得，普通話又得，英文又得，跟住你問。係關於呢一個光説嘅內容咧，咁佢會答你嘅，好冇？咁呢個咧就唔連外網嘅。呢個咧，因為我哋費事啲學生咧係，因為大家知道嗰個 VR 眼鏡係遊戲機嚟㗎嘛，係咪？咁我哋要控制住個課堂，咁所以咧呢個入邊呢個 AI 咧，淨係圍繞住光説。咁我哋有4首，咁即是話9月9日就淨係9月9日嘅 ，OK 就係咁樣嚇。咁我哋係用咗呢一個方式，好啦，咁咧你唔好起身住啊，好快。好，咁我相信大家對呢個會感興趣啲。大家 scan 咗入去咧，就會見到啱先光説嘅嗰個 VR 場景同埋 AI chat box， 然後下邊有九哥嗰條 link， 九哥詩歌嗰條 link， 有 POE， 有 Skype 同埋有其他嗰啲，全部都齊晒嘅嚇。咁啊，大家可以試試，尤其咧可以試一試咧，就係嗰個 VR 360度全景嗰個啊，咁啊翻屋企嘅時候咧，如果你哋有嗰個 VR 眼鏡，可以試試啦嚇。咁啊，另外咧可以試試個 AI chat box 嚇，咁呢個係我哋喺今次入邊去 develop 嘅一樣嘢啦嚇。OK， 係咪可以啦
Thank you for your presentation. Any comments or questions for the speaker? Yeah, would anyone like to ask a question?
好，呢度有我嘅 information， 係啦。哦，第二期係咪？好，第二期諗住點做咧？咁樣嗱，咁就當然第一樣嘢就需要兩樣嘢。第一需要funding，我做緊㗎啦。OK。第二需要全港我哋更加多嘅老師學校去一齊去共建嚇。咁因為大家都知道，如果教過建議篇章有100幾篇嘅 OK，咁我哋依家做咗5、6篇 OK，咁會繼續做，繼續做。咁我哋做嘅過程入邊係 tailor made嘅。我係要同老師先係請佢，譬如佢揀元日呢一篇，係咪？咁啊，跟住咧，我就同佢講，唔該你攞翻你原先嗰個過嚟。跟住我就同佢講，嗱，如果 VR AI Tune 入去點樣做調整咯 ？OK，咁又調到係呢位老師佢下一個學期，譬如你下一個學期 OK 上堂啦，9月份嘅時候，咁你要上呢一篇，你點上就係調成你點上咁樣，然後去你學校嗰度，我會帶埋我嘅團隊去你學校嗰度。帶埋眼鏡俾你哋，如果你哋冇嘅話，如果你哋有更加好。咁啊，跟住去你嗰度上堂你哋上，咁啊，跟住咧就我就喺嗰度，我就去 supervise， 我教大啲學生同埋你哋啲學生。咁跟住咧完咗之後，就我哋會做一個 interview， 可能要攞啲 data。咁然後咧完晒，譬如好似今次咁樣，大家都會見到嗰啲 data，我會 release 翻俾學校，話俾佢聽嗱，唔同嘅嗰個學習嘅模式，我哋點樣調？個問題喺邊？點樣可以增潤佢咁樣？3大嗰個部分，第一詩歌嘅理解，第二詩歌嘅背誦，第三詩歌嘅興趣。咁呢3樣嘢咧，我哋都見到通過呢個入邊咧，學生好興奮嘅。OK， 成個過程嗰個效果係非常之好嘅。OK， 咁啊，Doctor咧有冇補充啊？
特別想講咧，就係我哋有個團隊嘅，咁啊，阿馮博士啦，就係喺嗰個古詩文教學嘅內容啦。咁我哋其實仲有一位何先生，就係咧做呢一個科技做 VR 影片嘅科創公司。咁所以咧都係一啲有心人同埋有實力嘅朋友啦。咁所以阿馮老師啦，或者係我哋第2期嘅時候咧，同大家一齊合作咧，點解我哋有能力咧就可以根據校本做到校本嘅 課程設計咧，同埋你哋嗰個教學嘅需要咧，就係因為我哋有3大嘅組合，就有阿馮博士嘅一啲嘅中國文學嘅知識啦，有我哋科創嘅團隊嘅朋友啦，佢會幫手做到 VR 影片嘅調色啦，咁我哋就喺後續咧就做一啲嘅 eye tracking 嘅一啲檢視啊，確認到咧同學嗰個課程裏邊佢嘅學習個過程咧係同佢哋個 VR 嘅影片裏邊所展現嘅內容咧係相緊扣嘅，係啦，咁樣咁就期望咧有多啲信息嘅時候就聯繫馮博士啦，咁樣或者我哋會透過唔同嘅形式分享第2期嘅招募嘅咁樣，係啦。
好，唔該晒。OK。
Okay, thank you very much. Now, please welcome Max, who will be presenting on evaluating LLMs as English language instructors.
All right, I think everyone is here. This is a bigger crowd than I thought. Thanks for coming to the talk. My name is Max, and I'm currently a postdoc here within the Department of English Language and Communication at PolyU. And I'm also part of the International Research Center for the Advancement of Health Communication. Most of my research actually looks at AI in healthcare, how to implement AI in healthcare, how patients perceive AI in healthcare compared to doctors. This talk's not about healthcare, though. I do some research in AI and education. And the title of my talk is Evaluating Large Language Models as English Language Instructors. Overall, I know that the crowd here is very, very diverse. So I'm going to try to tailor my presentation depending on the knowledge that everyone has here. Just as a show of hands, who is currently a teacher? Okay, a good amount. Who is currently within a university doing research? A few, okay. Who is in education but not a teacher? A few, okay. Okay, I don't have too much teaching background in terms of under tertiary, so I'll try to make this talk quite accessible for everyone here just because some of the things here might be a bit dense. So that being said, let's move on. That's fine, yeah. So overall, the goal of my current research is basically to test out large language models on their capabilities and skills of being an English language instructor. And so overall, just as a very, very brief background, I'm sure most people would know this, but overall, large language models are basically just a special type of AI system, or realistically, just a special type of statistical algorithm that basically takes in tons and tons of text data, usually from the internet, and then it turns that text data into numbers, and those numbers try to code some form of meaning and understanding about each and every word within English and other languages. So overall, because of this, large language models have vast knowledge. They're trained on basically trillions and trillions of words, and therefore they pick up tons of different information all across the web. And so overall, this makes these tools extremely powerful, especially in things such as education, whereby large language models now are extremely good users of language, even probably better than some native speakers. Of course, some examples of these large language models are the ChatGPT series, such as GPT-4, as well as open source models like Llama or like DeepSeek. However, because large language models have kind of such power, such knowledge, a lot of times what people do in healthcare or in education is to basically take these models and just kind of use them in the classroom, in not as much in hospitals, but we're getting to that point right now. People usually just take large language models and kind of apply them without really testing their capabilities or testing if these large language models are actually being accurate in the task at hand. So overall, the goal for my research is basically to test their knowledge of English linguistics and test their knowledge of how good they are as language instructors. And basically, this is to assess how well they understand and use language, as well as how well they could potentially teach or instruct on linguistics topics, as well as to identify the strengths and limitations of these tools for language classrooms. So when I talk about English linguistics and language, I haven't really defined that yet because that is a very broad term, and obviously language education is very broad. So when I talk about kind of assessing large language models on various facets of being a language instructor or knowing English language or linguistics topics, I'm talking about most of these things such as English phonetics and phonology, or kind of the sounds and the sound patterns that occur within English, stuff such as English morphology or how words are created to form meaning, stuff such as syntax or sentence structure, semantics, and pragmatics, all to do with how people construct meaning with language. So overall, the goal is to test various large language models in order to see how well they understand various questions about these topics, questions that students might give in the classroom. So this might be a bit complex. I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide. I just want to show this slide because there has been past research conducting similar things to what I'm talking about today, whereby people have created what's called benchmarks to assess large language models on various linguistics topics, such as the benchmarks of Blip, COLA, and GLUE. I'm not going to go into details about these things, but basically all of these language benchmarks basically created a set of questions to give to large language models to test to see if the large language model would be correct on certain things, such as for grammaticality judgments or how accurate a large language model can say whether a sentence is grammatical or not. All of these benchmarks kind of access something about English linguistics and language. However, they don't encompass a large variety of questions that might be found in a language classroom. So therefore, I set out to create a new linguistic benchmark. I haven't created a fun name like COLA for it yet because this work is still in progress. And I set out to create a benchmark that tested various large language models across a wide range of English linguistics topics. And overall for this research, I started with 5 different models. This will probably be expanded in future work. The 5 models first were GPT-3, which is an old model, GPT-4 and 4 Mini, which are some newer ChatGPT models, as well as 2 open source models, that being the Llama model by Meta, as well as DeepSeek. And overall, what I did was basically I scoured English textbooks, talked with students, talked with other colleagues involved in language teaching, asking them what type of questions might students of English linguistics ask and encounter in their studies. And so over a course of quite a while, I've been doing this almost for 2 years on and off now, I've created hundreds of questions probing various topics, including English syntax to pragmatics and everything in between. And basically, this research might sound a bit complex, but overall, it's really actually quite straightforward in terms of basically what I did was just writing tons of questions and then feeding these questions into these language models and then assessing through multiple reviewers how accurate each of these language models were in answering questions about topics in English linguistics. So let's go to a few examples of kind of these questions. These are more simple questions, I think. And so these are only a small subset of kind of all the possible questions we have currently, and we're still trying to add more and more to this corpora of questions. These questions cover everything from, sorry, it's a bit small, so people in the back probably can't see this. I'll read it out. So the first question says, is the following sentence correct? The students and the man writes the paper. So this is a question just about English syntax, a relatively straightforward one. Other questions include stuff such as, is the following sentence formal, informal? Thanks for the info. Asking more about kind of English writing styles. Other things ask about English sound patterns, such as do these 2 words rhyme, busy and dizzy? Or what syllable is stressed in this word, Florida? So these are one of the more simple ones that are easier to talk about here, but they represent a very small sample of the hundreds of questions I've created in order to put into large language models in order to test to see their accuracy. Let's go to the exciting parts now, the results. So originally, this research was first conducted in 2023 when ChatGPT was the main kind of large language model available and probably the most powerful one back 2 years and a bit ago. And when this study was originally conducted and when these questions were fed into ChatGPT-3, GPT-3 really struggled with questions regarding kind of English and phonetics, such as phonology, such as it would have a lot of trouble understanding kind of stress patterns or kind of the pronunciations or other things about the sounds of the English language. But GPT-3 did have better performance in other categories back then, such as it did quite well in categories of grammaticality, syntax, and semantics. However, doing this test really recently with the newer models, such as GPT-4, as well as DeepSeek and the Llama new model, we found that across all categories of English linguistics, the newer large language models perform at almost 100% in all categories, which is a massive increase. I believe in 2023, we found that GPT-3 got about 2/3 or about 66% of our entire question bank correct. However, now we find that actually all these newer ones perform at pretty much 98 to 100%. I was going to include a bar graph here showing the performance of the different large language models, but because they're almost all the same at ceiling level at 100%, I did not include that. So therefore, in only 2 years, large language models seem to be much closer or already completely capable of providing accurate and in-depth information on various things about English linguistics. And this suggests that large language models are ready now to be used in all sorts of language classrooms, not to replace teachers or educators, but to augment them and to provide students with very accurate one-to-one feedback on any questions they have about their writing or the English language in general. So I quickly want to go over some of the output that these large language models give, because when I was going through this output, I was actually coding these questions for correctness along with a few other coders to make sure kind of we agreed on what was correct and what was considered an incorrect answer. And overall, I was quite impressed with the outputs. Most of the output was quite succinct or quite concise, but it got to the point and did a good job explaining some of these things. So the first output refers to the question of asking whether or not a sentence was grammatically correct or not. And one of the large language models outputted, the sentence is not correct because the verb writes does not agree with the compound subject. And then it goes on to give the correct answer, which is the students and the man write the paper. So overall, it gives the correct answer as well as it gives a pretty nice explanation for why that grammar in the original sentence was incorrect. The second one says the sentence, "Thanks for the info," is informal. It uses a casual tone with abbreviation info for information. Overall, a succinct but also pretty good answer in my opinion. The last one was a question asking about the pluralization of the word alumnus, which is quite a hard word to pluralize. Not every native speaker of English would get that correct. And the large language models, all of them got this one correct. And so overall, through all of these models, it seems that they're producing quite succinct and hopefully student-friendly answers, especially at the tertiary or university level. So overall, I just want to quickly discuss these results. And a recap is that with no prompting, basically, all of these questions that I put into these large language models, there was no prior instructions given to these large language models, such as, okay, you are an English language instructor. Your task is to provide students with accurate and concise feedback. I didn't do any of that. So with no prompting, just putting questions in, large language models have the potential to give really high quality English language guidance and tutoring. However, future research that I do a lot of research actually on fine-tuning language models, which just kind of means trying to develop techniques to make them produce better output, such as using what's called one or few shot prompting, which is basically basically by giving one or a few prompts before actually inputting in a question, such as the example I used before of, okay, you are an expert in English linguistics. Please be a teacher and provide concise and easy to understand feedback to students. With this one or few shot prompting, we might actually see that large language models can provide better feedback and be even better English language tutors. However, this is future research that I'm trying to conduct right now when I'm not researching healthcare related things. So overall, the direction I want to go with this is that future work involves kind of evaluating the use of large language models actually in classrooms like university classrooms or even in secondary school classrooms. Just because it is one thing for a large language model to be accurate in a task, but it's a completely different thing for the users of a large language model, such as students, to be able to trust the outputs and kind of use the output in a way like they would if they got outputs or feedback from a human teacher. I find that in my work with healthcare, that a lot of patients tend to know that large language models actually can be just as good as diagnosing patients on certain medical ailments as human doctors. However, most people that I find actually are less trustful in large language models and view them as having less competency than humans. This could be also the case with students. Even if we tell students that large language models are extremely accurate in English linguistics tasks, they might not trust it or they might view it as having reduced competency, and therefore they might be hesitant to kind of take the information of LLMs at face value. So future research that I want to do also involves looking at how students perceive these models in their studies and if these models can actually increase their English language understandings or just their grades as well. So overall, that is my topic. I know the coffee break is right after this. I'm sure everyone's keen. My name is Max, though. You can find me on the PaulU website. So if you have any questions about this research, it's still very much ongoing. So I actually cannot share the actual specific questions, the hundreds of questions we have, because we're still developing that corpora. And then hopefully that will be released sometime in the next year or two in a paper. So thank you very much. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, thank you for that question. So overall, I do think so. I'm not just as a secret, I'm not a language educator. So I'm very not skilled with working at students and knowing, I'm not an expert at all in kind of knowing student needs. But I do think that overall, once this stuff is released, what the tool that will probably be most useful within a language classroom is that basically we'll release all of the questions and kind of all the outputs that large language models give. And I do like your idea of basically kind of labeling the questions as kind of some of the easier ones or the lower level ones or some of the higher level ones. And I think another part of your question talked about how our students can kind of learn to ask questions or learn to use this technology. And I think one way that students can learn to kind of talk to large language models in terms of an educational sense is to kind of just peruse a few of the questions, or even in a textbook or a worksheet, have some examples of questions people have asked before, such as, okay, is this sentence correct? Very basic things. And then once they see those examples, hopefully they'll be able to kind of apply those examples onto their own questions that they have as well. So I think overall, this is not designed yet in mind for the classroom, but I think that obviously the ultimate goal would be to improve education through the use of this work. So I appreciate that comment, and I think I'll include that stuff hopefully in the write-up, thinking more student focused.
So in your presentation, you had asked the question, is color, C-O-L-O-R or C-O-L-O-U-R, how come it's predominantly true?
Yeah.
So I just answer, I would just like to know what was the result of this question?
I do remember that one. So basically, overall, I remember it said it was actually very good at answering that question. It said that color without the U is an American spelling, and so it knows the spellings quite well. Then it said that color with the U is British spelling. So actually, it did have quite a lot of niche knowledge on kind of writing styles across countries. Just as a caveat, though, models such as ChatGPT, and even actually models developed not in America are actually very American biased, just because most text on the internet would be written in American English over British English. But overall, it seems to understand these differences, though. But most text would, or most understanding would probably come from more of an American linguistics perspective. British English. Yes, so I think secondary schools are British English predominantly. At the university level, I see primary school. I see both at the university level. I personally use a weird mixture of both because I get mixed up as well.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question because some of my students will seek for solutions or answers after classes. I was wondering, based on your evidence, what type of situation will trigger the false information regarding grammar learnings, syntax, and vocabulary use? Because that's my most concerns.
That's a good question. So basically, when I was reviewing the answers, there wasn't really a clear pattern with kind of the false answers provided by these large language models. Because they're performing at such high levels, some of them got 100% of them correct. Most of them only got, out of hundreds of questions, 1 or 2 wrong. And those 1 or 2 wrong questions usually weren't completely wrong, but we marked them wrong because they had maybe 3 to 5 sentences of kind of explanation, and some part of that explanation included kind of a hallucination or something that was incorrect. So overall, right now, there's no quality control except for the fact that it performs quite highly. Probably what I would recommend for this research, and I hope to implement this in maybe textbooks or worksheets, is basically on sections for specific English language topics, such as in kind of grammar or kind of subject-verb conjugation, maybe in a textbook, having a little note at the very bottom saying that, okay, it seems that this model is very good at answering these questions, so please refer to that one if you have any questions. That way we can kind of get students to kind of use specific models for specific questions, and that will kind of tell students and teachers that it's okay to probably get answers for that topic from that large language model. So still all very preliminary, though. There's a lot of ways to implement this within schools and textbooks and pedagogies. And I'm excited to work with actually everyone here on that because I'm definitely not the expert in that.
Because I'm not a computational expert, and I actually have a question about the benchmark, and I wonder, like, in my understanding for the benchmark, it's kind of like a testing thing for to evaluate the performance for the LLMs. But in here, like for some of your questions, it might be a little bit like hard to define. Like maybe there's some maybe there's no exactly right or wrong answer for that. How do you define or like make a like the correct answer for this benchmark?
That's a good question. So overall, me and a few other coders who kind of evaluated this work on whether these questions were right or wrong, or not questions, but the output, whether the output was right or wrong. We did it in a binary fashion. So we gave the answer of correct as a 1, incorrect as a 0, and that's how we got the proportions. But obviously, we could have a scale of output that is not binary, but a sliding scale of, okay, this answer is amazing, this answer is as good as a professional language instructor, towards all the way of, okay, this answer is technically correct, but it's wordy, students wouldn't understand it. So overall, that's a good point. And I think future research for this, because large language models perform so good on these questions we have here, we're trying to develop harder questions, such as giving it kind of essay work and kind of having it critique student essays of kind of second language English writers. And obviously that one will probably use a more of a sliding scale measure of, okay, this critique or this feedback was very good, or this feedback wasn't as good, on maybe a number scale from 1 to 7. So that's a very good point. So this research overall, because it's preliminary, we used a very basic binary scale where basically we had multiple people looking at it and being like, okay, fine, that's correct. We think that's correct.
I can ask like that. So in your experience, okay, so thank you very much for the presentation. In your experience, have you tried feeding the same question to the same LLM, and were the responses consistent, or would it start to deviate?
So we did a couple rounds of feeding it in, and the responses were very consistent. That is a good question, though, because in other topics, such as I love talking about this topic, in medical morality, when feeding in responses for topics such as kind of medical dilemmas to large language models and asking them what they would do, these can actually flip very fast, depending on also the word ordering, how sentences are constructed. But for these questions, we did multiple rounds of the same question, as well as switching some of kind of how we ask the question, such as, is this sentence correct, colon, blah, 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 or tell me whether the sentence is correct. And it's pretty consistent. So for English language topics, it seems to be not deviating much at all. But for the harder questions, we might find this actually, especially for maybe things such as kind of essay critiquing or feedback for that.
Very much for the great opportunity to ask the last question. I feel honored, and it's great to hear your presentation. So thank you very much. I do have a question. I am a language teacher myself, so I'm quite curious. To what extent do you think the accuracy of having formal linguistic or English linguistic knowledge of LLM would correlate or is actually related to this LLM being a very good educational tool to be applied or used in actual language classroom? Because I would argue that there are many other different aspects and features that we would need to consider to decide whether an LLM could be a good English instructor or not, beyond the formal linguistic knowledge that you've been researching about. So thank you. I wonder if you have any thoughts on this.
I 100% agree. What this test basically kind of the bare minimum knowledge needed to apply to a classroom, such as if a large language model was just purely inaccurate, there's no hope for it to be good at all in any language classroom if it provides incorrect information. However, I 100% agree with you in terms of, yes, even if we have a perfect model, gives perfect information every single time, we need to consider things such as the sociability of the model, whether it's how students perceive the model, how it's used in the classroom, how teachers use it in the classroom or present it in the classroom. So there's tons more work to be done to actually get this to be effective in classrooms. This is just the bare minimum we need to prove that it kind of is just accurate in an academic sense. And then after that, then think of strategies to actually make it, educator-like, not just machine.
Okay, I think now we will have a coffee and tea break. Refreshments are available at the TU and QT covered wings. Please be back in 30 minutes so we can resume the session on time. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Now we have Li Yuanfeng and Dr. Remiza and Professor Yap presenting exploring feedback effectiveness in EFL writing, comparing teacher, peer, automated, and AI-based approaches. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Li Yuanfei. I will present this study today. And the topic I present today is exploring feedback effectiveness in EFL writing, comparing teacher, peer, AWE, and AI-based approaches. It's not working. My desktop is not connection from here. 它是吧？好像还动不了是吧？只能是在这儿。帮我从那块儿，帮我从那块儿。看吗 ？Thank you. Okay, and the first is the introduction. As EFL writing instructors face the increasing pressure from large class size and limited time and diverse student needs in China, many classrooms now adopt multiple feedback sources. The first one is teacher feedback, and then peer feedback, automated writing evaluations, and AI-based feedback. This shift is driven by the increasing teacher workload and growing demand for immediate feedback and the rapid adoption of AI tools in education. And the problem statement is about the existing research is fragmented, focusing on only one or two feedback types. As a result, we lack a full understanding of how different feedback types compare, and especially for high-order writing skills beyond grammar. Learners' perception of AI feedback remains unclear whether it's helpful, impersonal, unreliable, or overused. And the teacher have no clear guidance on how to integrate AI or AWE with human feedback effectively. And this study fills these gaps by providing a comprehensive comparison of teacher, peer, AWE, and AI feedback, offering both practical and theoretical contributions. And now let's see the research gap. And while numerous studies have explored teacher, peer, and AWE feedback, relatively few have examined AI-based feedback in EFL writing. Moreover, comparative research that includes all four feedback types within the same study remains scarce. Limited research investigates how EFL learners perceive the combination of AI feedback with traditional feedback sources. And now let's see the past studies about the teacher feedback. The strengths are accurate, contextual, and deep feedback. And usually it's focused on the content, coherence, and arguments, and beyond grammar. The limitation also have the time consumed and the large class size, especially in China. And the second one is about the peer feedback, and promotes the learner's autonomy and the critical thinking is a good aspect, but it needs effective when well scaffolded. However, students often perceive it as less reliable or viewed as superficial or inconsistent. And the third is about the AWE. AWE before AI tools is very popular in China too. Tools like the iWrite, PGuide, and provide immediate feedback on grammar and vocabulary and scores. It's very popular in China. And the weak point is less effective for content and rhetorical quality. And students report frustration over rigid formulaic and surface level suggestions. And the fourth one is AI-based feedback. And the strength is fast, accessible 24 hours, 7 days, and helps for fluency and coherence. And the weakness is a risk of inaccuracy, hallucination, and overgeneration. And it also requires general AI literacy, such as the technical skills, critical evaluation, and ethical use. And this is a summary of the 4 types of feedback. Okay. And the purpose of this study is compare the effectiveness of 4 feedback types and the EFL writing performance to examine students' perceptions of each feedback type. Which feedback do students trust the most? Which feedback do they find most helpful for different aspects? And pedagogical practices, how should teacher integrate AI and automated feedback with traditional feedback? And the research questions, the first one is, what are the effects of adopting teacher feedback, peer feedback, AWE, and AI-based feedback on EFL students' writing performance? And the second question is about what are the students' perceptions of those 4 types of feedback? The methodology part is about the first research design. It's a combination of quantitative and the writing scores and the questionnaire, and qualitative includes the interviews method. It's within subject experimental design. Participants includes 49 Chinese second-year English major students from Northern China University. The instruments include the writing task, include pre-test and post-test, and 2 narrative essays, a questionnaire, and semi-structured interviews. Procedure, each participant experienced all 4 feedback types and twice throughout the semester. And this is how do I do it? And the first draft student write, and they will immediately upload to the array. They get the AWE feedback. Then they write the revision and got the peer feedback. And they write again, then they got the teacher feedback. And after the revision the 4th time, they got the AI feedback, and they finally have the 5th draft. Okay, and the result from the scores, and a paired sample t-test shows no significant difference between the pre-test and the post-test scores. This suggests that the intervention did not lead to a statistically significant improvement in overall writing scores within the study period. This may be due to different tasks for each feedback type. And the second is about a short intervention period. And the results about the questionnaire. And the first is this map. This table, we can see from the table, the last part is the higher one, and it's a focus on that one. Table 1 presents a descriptive statistic of students' perceptions towards teacher feedback. And the majority of students perceive teacher feedback as highly helpful in improving vocabulary and grammar. They are both 98%. And similarly, a large proportion rate teacher feedback as highly useful for content development and coherence. They are over 90%. Very few students report moderate usefulness, and none perceived it as low. So this result indicates that teacher feedback is so overwhelmingly valued across all aspects of writing, particularly for vocabulary and grammar. Okay, next page. This table is table 2, shows the students' perceptions of peer feedback. And most students find it highly useful for vocabulary, grammar, content, and organization. But we can see from the figure that the high percentage is much lower than teacher. And some students had a moderate view, especially on organization and content. And a few students thought peer feedback was not useful, mainly for organization and grammar. You can, the lower part, you can see the percentage 8.2 and the grammar at 6.1. So overall, students value peer feedback for vocabulary more, but are less confident about its usefulness for grammar contents and organization. Okay, next page. And table 3, we can see it shows students' perceptions of I-Write feedback on full writing features. And most students find it highly useful for content, grammar, and vocabularies. They are all above over 90%. A lower percentage rate is as highly useful for organization, and with 12.2 choose moderate and 4.1 have the low point. And overall, students showed a positive attitude towards I-Write feedback, especially for content, grammar, and vocabulary, but were a little less confident about help with the organization. And the next table is about the students' perceptions of AI feedback. All students find it highly useful for vocabulary and grammar. We can see from the table, the first two are 100%. And most students also rate highly for content and organization. It's all 98%, with only 2% choose moderate and none choose low. So overall, students had a very positive view of AI feedback, especially for vocabulary, grammar, which received the highest rate among all feedback types. So this is a summary about the 4 feedback types. And now let's see table 5. This is a combination, the perceptions of a student towards the feedback combination. So, you can see there are 5 different combinations. So from this table, we can see the strong preference for teacher-involved feedback. You can see the high score 91.8. It involves teacher plus I-Write and teacher plus AI. They are highly useful. And the teacher plus peer also got the rating high. Okay, and AI as a valuable complement to teacher feedback. We can, from this table, we can see AI combined with teacher feedback was rated as high as teacher plus I-Write. This shows that students value the efficiency of AI and AWE, the technology ones, when it is paired with human feedback. And the third we can find from this table is a low trust in peer plus AWE feedback alone. And peer plus I-Write received the lowest high rating, 81.6%, with the highest moderate and low ratings. And this suggests the students are less confident in feedback that lacks teacher involved or AI support. Okay, next page. We can see from the results interview. This is the summary of the interview. We can see peer feedback is valuable for broaden perspectives and self-awareness. Yeah, because students always say, if I read the other students' articles or essays, I will know how they write better than me or write what's their weak point or strong point. I can learn from them. Maybe I can improve from this aspect or that aspect. And but it's hindered by vague and inconsistent feedback. The student also say maybe the students give me the peer feedback. They don't have as high level as me, so I don't think his or her comments is trustable. And I-Write feedback, we can see efficient for grammar and vocabulary corrections, but limited by mechanical suggestions and unreliable scoring. Yeah, because I-Write is still a machine, and sometimes students revised according to the I-Write suggestions. It even got lower scores. So they will be very frustrated. And AI feedback, and there is a comprehensive and idea generating, yet struggling with emotional nuance and the risk of over dependency. And the teacher feedback, students often think, and it's unmatched professional and personalized guidance, but may be restricted by availability. And this is exactly quotation from the student. And so I will leave this up. And so let's see the summary of the AI feedback. They are accurate, but impersonal and generic. And the students, the quotation from the student, they are, AI doesn't know me, it's just the correct words. And the AI give the students the same structure and the same feedback from student to students. And the student also see the different task, the AI gave them the same structure. Yeah. Okay. And this, the second one is the AI feedback undermines the writer's voice. And the students will say, every time I use AI, my essay loses its uniqueness. It always suggests the same phrase, and my writing ends up sounds like AI, not like me. That means no personality, but the students need their own voice. Okay, and this is a summary of a human voice mechanic feedback. So from this picture, teacher feedback versus AI feedback, the students feel the teacher's feedback is warm, human, personalized, and the AI or AWE feedback is cold, mechanic, and generic. So, next. Okay, the conclusion, teacher feedback remains essential for higher order concerns like logical and argumentation. And AI and AWE are useful for grammar, vocabulary, and surface level correction. Peer feedback requires structured guidance to be effective. And hybrid feedback modes, such as teacher plus AI, teacher plus AWE, balance the efficiency with depth. And AI literacy training is critical for both teacher and students. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Are there any questions from the audience?
Thank you so much. And that is a very interesting and fantastic presentation. So I might have some questions regarding the research design. As you say that there is a pre and post test, right? And you also have several rounds of revision like AWE, AI, and teacher, and they are organized in between, say, first, second, and third draft. So I'm thinking about like what is the pre-test is like the first draft, and the post-test is like after finish all the like intervention, like AI, teacher, everything. So that is the post.
Yes.
Okay. So will it be possible, like the sequence of, say, which kind of feedback goes first? Like currently it's like the AWE goes first, and then peer, and then teacher, right? And last is AI. So will it be possible, like the sequence of the feedback might have some impact on the non-significance of the pre and post results of the writing score?
Yeah, because the scores is about the I write, the first draft, they actually I write kind of like the test. They have to write it down, and then they upload to the I write and get a score. And the last draft also they put it in the I write, and they got the scores.
But it seems like you say like the after the first draft is AI feedback, and
Yeah.
and then that is the
Then
last
it's
draft.
the peer feedback, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they can also see their original one. Yeah. Actually, I write feedback, give them vocabulary and grammar feedback, and peer feedback. Maybe they can find the content. There's some disconnected content topic or thesis statement. They will find out, but they just find out that something's wrong, but they cannot correct them. They don't have the good ability to correct them, and some students even think. Your level is lower than me, and you correct my article. I don't trust you. I trust the teacher more, or trust the AI more.
Yeah, thank you. And I just have one last question. It's like when you evaluate like the combination of different feedback, like teacher and plus peer and AI plus teacher things. So when you design a questionnaire, it's like
Yeah, I have such as a full question about how do they feel about AWE, how do they feel about teacher feedback, full questions about questionnaire, including full part about each feedback. And then there's a part about the combination.
okay.
So which one do you like most? Or
Um,
which one do you think is high? You like a teacher, peer, or teacher, I write, or all of them together? So
okay.
I asked them to give me the answer.
Okay, I have no other questions. Thank you so
Okay,
much. This is
thank you
interesting
your
study.
question.